this is Stephanie Ortega, and you're listening to the Remix Movement Podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Remix. I'm so happy to be here with my husband, Louis.
Happy to be here.
Yes. Funny story. Without Louis, I don't know what I would be.
That's not funny or true.
Yes, it is. Because honestly, like...
Excuse me.
You're all right?
Yeah, I had to clear my throat.
Okay. So everything works out when I'm doing the podcast by myself, and then all of a sudden things don't work out when we do podcasts together.
It's a sign.
No, it's not a sign.
Are you sure?
What is the sign for?
No, I don't know.
Well, Louis, I appreciate
I
you.
feel like my voice sounds different though.
It does. You just cleared it, so...
No, like not with my throat. It just, I don't know. It sounds, to me, like I can't figure it out. It sounds different to me, at least in my headphones.
Sounds good to me.
Does it sound different in your headphones?
Sounds the same. I'm just happy to listen to you in my headphones.
I don't know. Okay, well, keep going.
All right. So in our last episode, we talked about how Jesus Christ is the joy for all and how he is the joy to the world. And not only in just the Christmas season, not only in just the holiday season, but he is the joy in all of our seasons, right? And we talked about the difference between happiness and joy. We mentioned that they are definitely not the same. And we talked about how joy is directly related to our connection and deep relationship with Jesus Christ. So when we act like him selflessly is when we experience the most joy. So I thought that episode was really cool, really digest what those really cool Christmas carols are all about. And the episode's challenge was basically, hold on, I want to sneeze.
We're having like some like I'm like something's in my throat. You need to sneeze. This is one of those episodes.
It's ticklish, so I don't want to like sneeze in the microphone.
It looks like you're trying to sneeze, but you can't let it go.
It's going to be one of those episodes. Anybody who listens to this episode is like, I don't know what's going on here.
Okay, you sneeze and I clear my throat. Ready?
No.
1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. That one sounded really like...
Wow. We apologize. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
so sorry. Again, one of those episodes.
All right. So, Louis, what was the episode's challenge for the last one?
Okay, the last episode's challenge was ask yourself every day in the morning before you drive anywhere, whether it be school, work, the grocery store, wherever, and ask them, ask yourself, what am I going to do today to be joyful? What am I going to do today to be more like Jesus in this world? And once you answer that, do it. Do it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So, what can you do? I see you like cover your nose. Louis, are you getting allergies too?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Okay. So like, there's something in my throat. Like now my nose is itchy. This is going to be a long one.
Oh, I hope not. So yeah. So
okay.
Ask yourself, what am I going to do to
Wait, let me clear my throat. Okay.
What am I going to do to be joyful? What am I going to do to be more like Jesus? Yes. All right, entering this episode, okay, because we talked about our last episode. We're moving through. Today, we're going to talk about certain things that always do well together.
Okay.
Right, Louis? So I'm going to give you a few, right? These are a few of my favorite. Peanut butter and jelly.
Always together.
Ice cream and cake.
Always together.
For all my Hispanic people, chicken and adobo.
That's debatable, but yes, I can see
Okay, for all my Puerto Ricans out there, chicken and adobo.
Okay.
And when you think of the sun, it makes you want to go to the beach. The sun and the beach.
For most, yes.
All right. So all of these things that I just described, they are beautiful pairs. They're beautiful partners. They complement each other. When they're together, they create a satisfaction. They create something that is meaningful. They go together. They mesh together right?
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of people, instead of thinking of food, they also think of people. So some people, because I have friends and you have friends, they look at us and they say, oh my God, you and Louis complement each other very well. And they say that we're the best partners because Lewis is very charismatic, very funny, very outgoing.
Most would say yes.
Most would say yes. He has a baby face. He makes you want to laugh.
Wow.
And then me, I'm a little bit more mature, practical, serious, and optimistic. So we complement each other very well. So what happens when you remove one of the two things that go perfectly well together? Like, can you imagine having just a peanut butter sandwich?
I wouldn't even dare.
Because you're missing the jelly.
The jelly, yes.
Right? I would never be able to imagine ice cream. Well, actually, no, cake without ice cream.
It's been done.
But it's one of those things where you think about it and you're just like, oh my God, this cake would taste so good with ice cream.
Probably.
Right? So when you take something out of two partners that are matched so well together, that make you remember things that are so important, you take away its special quality, and sometimes it just becomes bland, or like you have it, you can still have your peanut butter sandwich, but in your head you're like, oh, but this would have tasted so much better with my jelly.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
So today we're going to talk about faith's partner, right? So your faith actually needs something for miracles to be produced. It's not just you thinking, well, I have the faith I'm going to get better, and not doing anything. Right? You can say, well, I have the faith that I'm going to get that job. But you just say that you got the faith and you pray for it and you pray for it, but there's something missing out of that faith's partner for you to be able to do something. And I think you know what I'm talking about, Lewis.
I do, yeah.
All right. So today we're going to talk about how faith without works is dead. How faith's partner is action and good deeds. And the best way for me to be able to explain this is to digest it through what the word says. So we're only going to cover this small passage. Sorry. Lewis.
I want to clear my throat, but I know you're going into the verse right now, so I was going to hold it. But since you're doing this whole thing, I'll go ahead and do that. Excuse me.
Oh my God, we're going to look back at this episode and be like, what is wrong with us?
We just lost 10 listeners.
No, don't say that. I'm so sorry. Guys, if you're watching us or hearing us on YouTube, please send us a comment. Tell us what you think. These are real life problems, but we're going to get through this.
We can do this.
Episode 93. This is what it's about. Faith's partner.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to read James chapter 14. I'm going to read it through 18, and then we'll just kind of work our way in there, right? So it's titled Faith Without Good Deeds is Dead, and I'm actually reading from the New Living Translation. So it says, what good is it, dear brothers and sisters, if you say that you have faith but don't show it by your actions? Can that kind of faith save anyone? Suppose you have a brother or sister who has no food or clothing, and you say, goodbye and have a good day. Stay warm and eat well. But then you didn't even give that person any food or clothing. What good does that do? And honestly, let's be true. That doesn't do any good whatsoever. Right, Lewis?
Nothing.
I think it's wrong if you know somebody is in need and then you tell them these things and you know what they're really asking for is clothes and food. And you're just like, oh no, have a good day. Almost like you're like, I have the faith you're going to get better, but you didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
All right. So verse 17, it says, so you see, faith by itself isn't enough. I'm going to repeat that again. Faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless. I'm going to stop right there. How many times have you, and this is for the listeners, unless Lewis wants to chime in. How many times have you said, I have the faith I'm going to pass this class, but you didn't take the time to study harder to get an A on your exam? How many times have you said, I have the faith I'm going to graduate at this time, but you didn't take the time to study in the areas that you need help with? You didn't take the time to ask for a tutor. You didn't take the time to ask for help. How many times have you said, I have the faith I'm going to look for another job in the midst of this pandemic, but you're picking and choosing what you want and not really thinking of the whole picture? So instead of selecting all the jobs you're qualified for, you pick and choose what you think is correct. So if you have faith, faith isn't enough. Your faith needs to be partnered by action. Your faith needs to be partnered by good deeds. You need to be able to say, I'm going to put in the work to get what I need, and I'm going to pray and put my faith into action so that it will happen.
It's good. Yeah.
You don't have anything else to say? You're really like...
I mean, I was just thinking like, I was telling my barber, because we were having a conversation about God, right? And he was telling me, like, he said to me, yeah, I believe in God. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's cool. But then I was like, so do you know God? And he's like, yeah, I believe in him. And I was like, but bro, do you know God? And he kind of, I don't know if he understood what I was trying to go with this. I hope he does. If not, we're going to have another conversation anyways. Go ahead. Sneeze it out.
No. Keep saying what you're saying.
I got to clear my throat anyways. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
No. Oh my God.
Oh, this is.
Maybe it's the room. Maybe there's not enough air in this room, and like for some reason we're like stuffy.
I don't know what it is. Okay, anyways. So, going back to my story. So, I asked my barber, do you know God? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I hear this a lot. And I don't know what it is that people say that they believe in God, that they know that there's a God that exists, yet they lack a relationship with God.
Yeah, they don't.
I really feel like it's two things that need to go together. Mm-hmm. And those, when somebody says that they believe in God, if I were to say that, I'd feel like I would need to know who God is to believe in God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's my personal opinion. But I don't really think that you can do one or the other.
One without the other.
One without the other, right? Okay. That's what I was trying to say.
They go hand in hand.
They go hand in. They should go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But I've seen that problem where they say they believe in God, but don't actually have a relationship with God.
Oh my gosh, check this out. This is gonna sound really weird. I just finished having dinner, and I think I'm dreaming of desserts. But you're saying that, right? And I'm thinking, if you believe in God, that means, like, let's say you're making a cake. When you make a cake, the first thing they tell you to do is you have to whisk all the ingredients together so that all of the cake dough, if you're doing it from a box, is dissolved and doesn't look clumpy, right?
Sure.
So if you're in a relationship with God, you have all the ingredients. You say, oh, I have God. I know who he is. But we're not taking the time to whisk it together and actually get in the midst of that relationship. Yep. We're not getting in the midst of mixing things up, because what happens is, just because you know God doesn't mean you know who he is. I can say I believe God exists, but that doesn't mean that I really believe in his power.
Right.
And I can say, well, I do believe in God, but I can't, if you can't say I believe in God because, then you're missing out on who he is, so that you could be able to testify of what he's done in your life.
Right. I brought this conversation up with another friend, and I said, listen, like, you know who our president is, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was like, yeah, I know who it is. I said, but do you know who he is? Because you can know of this person, but do you know this person? And it's two totally. God bless you.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
That was it.
Okay. So yeah. So you can definitely know of a person, but not know a person. And when you don't know a person, that means there's not a relationship. There's not an established connection. And that's totally two different things that need to be brought together. Are you Stephanie, you're having like this like sneeze attack right now.
I'm listening to you.
Oh, no, I know.
I'm listening to you. It's the devil is a liar. I'm listening.
You okay?
Yes, you can know of God, but do you know about God?
About God.
Do you have a relationship with God?
Yeah.
Yes.
Amen.
Oh my gosh. So yes, faith without works is dead. What we're talking about here is faith is a part of who God is, right? If you know who God is, you have to have the faith and the action to be able to believe in who he is, trust in his will, and do what it is that you need to do so that God could work on your behalf. All right? So faith by itself isn't enough. You got to have the good deeds. You got to put in the work. Verse 18. Now, someone may argue, oh, that's funny. Someone may argue, some people have faith and others have good deeds. But I say, how can you show me your faith if you don't have good deeds? I will show you by faith my good deeds. And I put this verse in the Message version because I was like, what does this mean? How do I really get people to understand this? In the Message version, verse 18 says, I can already hear one of you arguing by saying, it sounds good. You can take care of the faith department and I'll take care of the works department. And how many times do we do that? Oh, you know what? Yeah. I want that job. You fill out the job application for me. Or, yeah, I want that job. It sounds good on paper, but the application's too long. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you have to be able to say, you know what? It takes a long time to do this application, but I'm qualified. And I know that by faith, I can get this job. So no matter how long the application is, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And it kind of reminds me like how hard you worked to get your aviation license.
Yes.
It was a long, hard situation.
Yeah, it was a process, yes.
It was a process. And you even had to fly out to a different state to be able to get your test, to be able to have it focused, and to be able to do what it is you needed to do. And down the road, you passed your exam, and now you have your license to be an aviation technician, maintenance, whatever.
Yes, whatever.
I mean, you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
All right, so it says, not so fast. You can no more show me your works apart from your faith, that I can show you my faith apart from my works. Because faith and works and faith, they fit together hand in glove. Yes. All right. Pushing through. Verse 19, it says, you say that you have faith, for you believe there is one God. Good for you. Even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror. How foolish. Can't you see that faith without good deeds is useless? So basically he's saying exactly what you said. Hey, you believe there's a God. Everybody believes there's a God. Some people believe there's a God, but they don't really do anything about it.
Even the atheists believe there's a God.
Even the atheists believe there's a God, they just don't believe in it.
Right.
Right? So you cannot be oblivious to the fact that God is real, but you can be oblivious to what God has in store for you if you don't produce the works for your faith to grow. Woo! That's a revelation right there. I'm hot. Woo! Jesus. All right. The Message. Verse 20, it says, use your heads. Do not suppose for 1 minute that you can cut faith and works into two and not end up with a corpse on your hand. And that is something crazy because what he's basically saying is your faith is dead unless you revive it with actions. Your faith is nothing unless you take the time to put in the work. And a lot of people just say the slogan for Nike, just do it. Because what happens is that you may want to be the best athlete you can be, but if you don't go ahead, put your shoes on, and get outside to get ready to run, you're not going to be an athlete. So the same thing goes with your faith. You can't be a Christian that's in a deep relationship with God, that you maintain your faith and you pursue the purpose that God has for you unless you put in the action for your faith. All right, now we're going to go into some examples because this is amazing about James. James chapter 2, it not only tells you that faith without works is dead, it also expresses examples of what it's about. So, Lewis, can you read 21 to 25? Or no, 26, just to finish it.
Yeah, it says, Don't you remember that our ancestor Abraham was shown to be right with God by his actions when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? You see, his faith and his actions worked together. His actions made his faith complete.
Yep.
And so it happened just as scripture says. Abraham believed God, and God counted him as righteous because of his faith. Mm-hmm. He was even called the friend of God. So you see, we are shown to be right with God by what we do, not by faith alone. Yeah. Rahab the prostitute is another example. She was shown to be right with God by her actions when she hid those messengers and sent when she hid those messengers and she sent them safely away by a different road. Just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without good works.
All right. So here are your two examples in a nutshell. Abraham was told to kill his son Isaac. Did God really want him to kill Isaac? No, he didn't. But this was a test of faith. And instead of him saying, oh, well, I have the faith that God's going to do something, his actions spoke of his faith. He walked up that mountain. He picked up his wood. He got up all of his stuff he needed for the flame. He even had a conversation with his son because his son said, well, Dad, where's the ram? Where's the sheep? And he said, God will provide. This was his faith with his actions. Because he believed God, he had the courage and the faith to do what God said, to walk up those stairs, to obey what God said, to do the work. And that is how God provided the miracle. In the midst of the right time, he stopped him from killing his son, and he provided the sacrifice that he wanted. So he didn't even have to look for the sacrifice for the sheep. The sheep just appeared because he had the faith to do what God said.
Yes.
All right. Number 2, Rahab the prostitute. Rahab is a woman when the Israelites were about to go into battle with Jericho. And Joshua goes ahead, and Joshua sends these spies to go check them out. The spies were about to get caught. They were about to get caught. If they got caught, it would have been a mess, and they wouldn't have been able to have the victory over Jericho. But Rahab, who was known as a prostitute, put her faith into action. And what she did was she hid those messengers, those spies, and she sent them a different route. And this is her faith and her actions. And this is from a prostitute. This is from any other person would have probably judged her and been like, we don't know how strong and connection her relationship with God was. We don't know her background story. But just because she's a prostitute doesn't mean she didn't let a God use her for a purpose. And what does that mean with us? That means, listen, if you're a listener of the Remix Movement, if you're a listener of any other podcast, and what you're listening to is the message of faith being produced in your life, you have to do more than just listen, right? You have to be able to listen and then apply what's being told. Because God can give you a revelation in these episodes. God can give you a revelation at church. God can explain to you what he needs you to do so that your faith can be done. But if you don't go ahead and do the action, if you don't go ahead and get that piece of paper, take some notes, apply it to your life, read the Bible, if you don't do those things, then your faith will not produce anything. God will not work in your life unless you put these two partners together. Your faith's partner is your action and your good work. It doesn't stop with just your prayers. It goes beyond the prayers. It goes beyond your faith. It is putting into practice, using your hands, using your voice, using your feet, using your influence with the faith that you have, knowing that God is going to work a miracle in your life. That's when you were supposed to put those people like, woo!
Oh, yeah. I don't know which one it is.
I think I do, but I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
So Louis, did you want to say anything else with regards to this? Because I know this has been a long episode.
No, it hasn't been long, and I think it was pretty straightforward.
Yes. I hope it encourages people, and I hope that, again, I'm constantly working things out, and I pray, and I have faith. But this is a really good reminder to me and you and to our listeners and to our family and friends that faith without works is dead. God wants to do something in our lives, and he can't do it unless you partner your faith with your good actions and with your good deeds. So in today's episode's challenge, it's basically the next time that you pray and choose to have faith over something, think about what action you need to do for your faith to move and God to produce the miracle. Think about what you need to do for your faith to go beyond what you are required and get what it is that you're asking and declaring the Lord for. And we gave really good examples.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you again. I know this episode was a little bit of a mess at the beginning, and we apologize.
Yes, we do.
But I really do believe the message is here. The message went forward. Episode 93, it was for you, the person who's listening to us in the car, the person who's listening to us while they're working out, the person who's listening to us at work. Faith's partner is good deeds, is action. So go do what you need to do so that God can produce a miracle in your life.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Remix Movement for more updates. Send us a DM with your feedback, questions, and any topics that you would like to hear in any of our future episodes. Thank you and God bless.